Alright guys, I have another Generation 6 standard match here against a guy named PlasmaPower. This is once again taking place from my stream, well, in my stream. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so you can take a look at both teams there, and let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so, in-game name Liz. Sure, why not? And, yeah, so PlasmaPower decides to lead with Ferrothorn, as I decide to lead with Darmanitan. It's a pretty darn good, juicy matchup for me, so I kind of figure he's going to switch. Obviously, he doesn't really probably want to stay in and take a Flare Blitz, so I do it anyway, figuring I should be doing decent damage to anything else, and he ends up going out into his Azumarill, which does end up taking some pretty nice damage despite the resistance, but I do not want to get hit by the Aqua Jet, so I decide to switch out into Swampert. Not because Swampert resists water, but because Swampert is a pretty bulky Pokemon, especially bulky physically, so I figured it was a pretty good switch. So yeah, he's obviously going to switch out, and he decides to go back into Ferrothorn, I guess to hope that he can get Stealth Rocks up against my Swampert. Speaking of which, that's what I decided to do, because I kind of figured he would switch. And if not, I can probably beat him out anyway with Earthquake next turn. But no, he does go out into this Ferrothorn, and I'm going to switch out because I do not want to take a Grass move, even though I know he's probably just going to set up Rock. So I go out into my Fire type, but he ends up switching as well. So he ends up predicting my switch into Darmanitan and made a pretty nice double switch to go out in Azumarill again. So I'm kind of in the same boat as I was before. So I go back into Swampert, figuring he might actually predict this switch, or probably will, and go for the Waterfall. But he ends up making a huge mistake here, trying to go for Belly Drums, just a Belly Drum Azumarill, but he didn't actually have 50% of his health. He really should have calced that. He said he did have 50% of health before my Stealth Rock took effect, and he kind of forgot about it. So that caused the error, and it is a costly one, because he could have gotten at least some decent damage on my Swampert. But now he's pretty much forced to go ahead and just play rough. I'm just going to... I'm going to use the Protect to get some leftover recovery, why not? And now I'm going to switch out into something that can take the player off, aka Scizor. And yeah, he does go for it. I'm not really sure why he just wasn't going for Waterfall in the first place, since that would have also been neutral damage, but whatever. I just go for the Bullet Punch to get rid of this stupid Azumarill. So he takes the opportunity here to go into Talonflame, and Talonflame obviously is one of the biggest OU threats, and it would be probably Uber if it wasn't for the fact it was X4 weak to Stealth Rock, so at least I get that damage on it, but I pretty much have to switch out, which kind of sucks because I don't want to get hit by a Flare Blitz, and even a Brave Bird would do a ton. So I end up giving him a Swords Dance by doing that, and this thing is scary enough without a Swords Dance, so that is some pretty good setup there. But he ends up going for the Roost instead of just finishing off my Swampert, I guess because he figures he's not going to be able to, get much, he's not going to kill many Pokemon, basically, because of the recoil associated with Brave Bird. But, yeah, I end up going for the Scald, and it does more than he roosts for, so it's not really great for him. And now he is going to try to just finish me off with Brave Bird. Obviously, a stab Brave Bird from this thing after a Swords Dance is going to murder me. This thing is pretty damn scary. So I go on to Scizor. I do know that Brave Bird is priority due to the ability, and but at the very least, this forces him to go for the Brave Bird and kill himself on my Scizor. Because I obviously go for the Bullet Punch. If he tries to heal there, I wanted the thing dead. If he can kill Scizor, I thought that was a sacrifice I had to make, because obviously I did not want to get that thing more health by letting it roost. I just needed to get rid of it. Either way, he goes into his Dragon Doom, which is apparently the name of his Hydreigon, and then murders my Darmanitan, so that was not good. So I did lose Darmanitan here. I'm going to go out into Conkel Dur, basically because I can just whack it with my fists. And he is switching out, so I kind of think this thing is Specs or Scarfed at this point. But yeah, he goes out into Sableye as I knock off, and it's not going to be able to knock off the Sableye's item because it is the Mega Stone. He is going to use Mega Sableye, and yeah, I go into my own Mega Gardevoir as he Mega Evolves into Mega Sableye and then goes for the Will-O-Wisp to burn me. Burn does not really hurt my Gardevoir that much. I mean, the residual damage is obviously kind of annoying, but aside from that, Burn isn't going to limit my Gardevoir's abilities, but it is, as I said, annoying. And Mega Sableye is definitely a really interesting Mega that I probably want to try to use later. But either way, he's going to retreat. He does not want to stay in and take a Fairy move, which is my Hyper Voice, I believe. because this thing also gets Pixelize, so why not use Hyper Voice? Either way, yeah, I do Mega Evolve, because I wasn't Mega Evolved yet, and I go for the Hyper Voice, and he goes out into his Ferrothorn, which is a good play, because Ferrothorn does not take that, does not take much damage from that at all, and obviously can wall my Gardevoir pretty good. I do have the Focus Blast, decided to go for it to see what he'd do, and he ends up going for the Leech Seed, and I missed the Focus Blast, which just isn't good. Everyone else can hit with Focus Blast, but not me, and that does allow him to get the Leech Seed, and I really just can't risk staying in at this point. I do have Focus Blast, could try to go for it again, but with the Leech Seed and the Burn, I'm just taking way too much residual damage, and I can't risk a miss. I do want to keep Gardevoir, because looking at my team, Gardevoir is probably the best chance I have to take out Sableye. Regardless, he's going to go for the Gyro Ball as I switch out into Conkeldurr, Dur, which obviously is not going to do much to Conkeldurr, being that, Conkeldurr is a really slow Pokemon. I go for the Ice Punch, actually thinking that he would switch out into the Sableye, but as it turns out, he decides to stay in, so he actually predicted that I'd over-predict there, and that's another good play by him, as he gets the Leech Seed off on Conkeldurr, which is not good. And at this point, I'm feeling kind of trapped, because I think if I do try to switch out, he's going to, so I go for the fighting move at this point, he's obviously just going to switch. But I don't really feel safe going for the Ice Punch either, so I decided just to switch out into Gardevoir and see what he'd do. And he ends up switching into Sableye, which is excellent for me, because this is the matchup I want. I want Gardevoir to be able to take this thing out with a Fairy move with my, Hyper Voice. And, yeah, he's going to stay in and protect, I guess, to see what I do, and as well as get some more burn damage on me, which is a good play. Why not do it, after all? But now he stays in, which is a little bit curious for me, because he could have just probably pretty safely went out into Ferrothorn, unless he thought I would predict that and go for the Focus Blast. So maybe that's why he did it. Either way, I did stay true to using my voice, and that is going to be able to take out the Sableye, which is excellent. So now he goes into Raikou. It's his Latchmon, the only Mon I haven't seen. He has this Raikou, and he has a Ferrothorn left. So I am going to switch out, and I go out into Latios, which is my last Pokemon revealed. Not that it matters, because we both know each other's team in the beginning of Gen 6, but last Pokemon that you guys see. Either way, he goes for the Thunderbolt. That's not going to hurt Latios, thanks to the excellent special defense as well as the resistance. And, yeah, that's pretty excellent, as he decides to switch out into his Hydreigon. Oh, he doesn't have Hydreigon. He still has Hydreigon, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But he is going to go into Ferrothorn here, as I switch out into, who do I switch out into? Conkeldurr, which, yeah, that was an excellent double switch for me. Can't remember if I predicted that or not. I think I did. Yeah, I did. I did predict this, as I recall, because I thought he would think that I would go for Draco Meteor, so obviously going into a special wall like Ferrothorn is obvious, as I switch out into Conkeldurr. And at this point, I can just go ahead and use the Drain Punch without fear. His only Pokemon that was, stopping me from just going out with Drain Punch was a Sableye, and at this point, Drain Punch will KO pretty much all of his Mons, except for maybe this Raikou. But either way, I do have the Mach Punch, so obviously a Drain Punch and then a Mach Punch would kill the Raikou, so I'm able to take out the Ferrothorn. He was trapped there due to the double switch. He had to sack one of his Mons, and he decided to let me kill Ferrothorn. And here, that sucks, because I knew I would live that Extrasensory. I didn't even know Extrasensory could flinch, but it did. Great. I'm just getting all sorts of unlucky in this match. Either way, I don't want to stay in and die, obviously, so I just go out in a Latios to take the Extrasensory. 10% chance to flinch. Man, I could have killed that Raikou too, but oh well. He's going to Volt Switch, and yeah, the only other thing he can Volt Switch into is Hydreigon at this point. And yeah, let me just say, I made one heck of a play here by going for a Draco Meteor, predicting this exact play. I knew he was going to go out into it, and I missed the Draco Meteor. So, first the flinch, then the miss. Well, first the miss on freaking Focus Blast, then the flinch, then the miss on freaking Draco Meteor. Anyway, so I just have to kind of hope that he tries to go... Well, I actually go into Gardevoir here to scout whatever move he would be doing. I know Gardevoir is basically useless at this point. I just want to scout what he'd lock himself into, because like I said, I did kind of figure this was Scarved or Specs, and he locks himself into Dark Pulse, which I can survive on Conkeldurr thanks to the resistance, and obviously hit back really hard with a Drain Punch, which will cure my health pretty much all the way. And his last Pokemon is Raikou, which will be weakened at this point, especially more so due to taking one more little hit of Stealth Rock, and I feel pretty comfortable just going for the Mach Punch and killing it at this point, and that's what ends up happening, folks. I do indeed do that, and yeah, the Mach Punch will finish off the Raikou, so that is a good game there, PlasmaPower. There's actually, he said this was his first OU battle over Wi-Fi, so um, definitely did some. So yeah, you did pretty good for your first time, that's for sure. Definitely had me sweating a bit, although the hacks at the end there against me, I thought might have actually really hurt me. But anyway, let me just go ahead and do the question of the day. Here's the question of the day is, I'm not really sure if his name is a reference to Team Plasma, but I'm taking it anyway. What is your favorite evil organization in Pokemon? I mean, the guy that you love to hate. As for me, I'm always a, nostalgic and classic guy. I'm going with Team Rocket. Back when, in the day, when evil organizations didn't have these ulterior motives to waking up Pokemon that are basically gods for some twisted purpose that usually ends up destroying the world. Um, I like my Pokemon villains just to be Pokemon gangsters, to be honest, and leave it at that. Anyway, leave a comment about that. What your favorite evil organization is, whether it's Aqua or Magma or Plasma or Galactic or what's the other one? Flare, I think. Yeah, leave a comment and see you guys again next time. Bye.